Hello, CoreLife. It's Lauren Melton here, registered dietitian at CoreLife in Odenton. Thanks again for joining me today on Eating Well with CoreLife. Um, Today we're going to talk about um, ways that you may not have realized before that you can boost your intake of protein if you are following a vegan or a vegetarian diet. I'm really excited to present this one. But before we get started, I want to remind you that even though some of our clinics are still temporarily closed, you can still meet with your care team through a telehealth visit. Telehealth is here to stay. So if you're interested in participating in telehealth or just want to use our app for remote patient monitoring or tracking your progress, give your local office a call. Or if you haven't gotten your in-person visit set up and your office is open, and you want to come in person, give us a call and we will get you set up. Okay, so like I talked about, today we're talking about how to boost your protein if you're following a vegan or vegetarian diet. I think the common, excuse me, the common way that we know to get protein if you are not eating meat, a lot of people think, eating nuts and things like that can give you protein, nut butters, things like that. But some of those are also high in fat. So I want to give you some suggestions for boosting protein intake overall without having to sacrifice very much fat in your diet. And hopefully my goal is to give you some tips and tricks for things you may not have known before. So let's dig into this. So number one, tofu, tempeh, edamame, textured vegetable proteins. Although these are all different products, these are all made from soybeans. All three of these have iron and calcium, or all of these have iron and calcium, and can range from about 10 to 19 grams of protein per 3.5 ounces. So when you think about 3.5 ounces, kind of think of like the size of a deck of cards. So what are all these things and how do you use them? So edamame are pretty much just immature soybeans in pods. So these are great if they're boiled or steamed and can be added just to about any dish for a protein punch. You can have them even as a snack. So you can buy them frozen in the pods and you can like pinch them out of the pods and eat them that way. Or you can buy them already out of the pods and they're a little bit easier to add to things that way. So that's one of my favorites. Tempeh. So this is also made from soybeans. It's made by cooking and fermenting mature soybeans and pressing them into kind of a patty and has a little bit of a nutty flavor. Tofu, on the other hand, is made in a similar way to cheese. It's pretty much the soybean curds like pressed together. It doesn't have much flavor on its own, but if you've had it before, you know that it's very good at absorbing the flavor of the things that you cook it with. Tofu and tempeh can both be used in a wide variety of foods, from burgers to chilies and stir fries. My advice here, if you're not really sure how to cook it, if you go to a restaurant that offers it, try it there and see what you think before you commit to buying it at home. Or, just look up on Pinterest or Google or, Skinny Taste, some good recipes that you can use these in. And then the other one is textured vegetable protein, TVP. This is also made from soybeans and it's a gluten-free meat substitute, just as all of these are. This is great as a ground meat substitute. Usually is pretty much what you can use it for. Can be used for tacos, chili, sloppy joes, things like that. And there's about 13 grams of protein per quarter cup. So pretty loaded. So that can be another good one. And then continuing on the soybeans, just dried soybeans. I like to throw those in things for an added crunch, or you can kind of throw it in your own trail mix just for a little bit more protein. So that's as far as soybeans go. They come in a wide variety of products that you can use to boost your protein intake for little fat. The next one is chickpeas and beans, really any other type of beans. Chickpeas are also called garbanzo beans, and these are going to range about 15 grams of protein per cooked cup. The highest protein beans are going to be your black beans, kidney beans, pinto beans, and then of course the chickpeas. A lot of studies have shown that a diet rich in these types of beans and proteins can decrease your cholesterol, help with blood sugar levels, and lower your blood pressure. So you can use these again in any sort of salad, in any sort of soup. I think a lot of us are pretty familiar with how to incorporate beans into our diet, but if you're kind of unsure if that's not a normal food for you, talk with your registered dietitian at your clinic about how to increase your bean intake. And you also get a lot of good fiber there as well. The next ones are going to be some different types of grains that you can use. So spelt and teff. These are ancient grains, and they can really be used to substitute any grain you normally cook, rice, orzo, pasta, anything like that. There's about 10 to 11 grams of protein per cooked cup. Spelt is a type of wheat and contains gluten, so if you are gluten sensitive or you avoid gluten for any reason, you probably want to steer clear of spelt. Teff is gluten free. And just like any of these other things that we're talking about today, since they're plant-based, going to be loaded with great nutrients there for you. Some other grains, quinoa, which I'm sure you've heard of before, and amaranth. These are going to be a little bit lower, only about 8 to 9 grams of protein per cooked cup, but still loaded with great nutrients. Still can be substituted where you would normally use rice or any of your other grains. Then we have soy milk. So soy milk is a great milk substitute if you have issues with dairy. It has about 7 grams of protein per cup. It's fortified with a lot of great nutritious vitamins and minerals. This is probably the most nutritious milk substitute that you can get, but be sure to get the unsweetened so that you're not getting any added sugars with that as well. The next one that you may not have heard of is called seitan. So seitan is made from gluten, which we've talked about this before, the main protein found in wheat. So again, if you're avoiding gluten, you may want to steer clear of this one, but it actually resembles the texture of meat when cooked, unlike some of these other protein options on this list. It's probably the highest plant-based protein with about 25 grams of protein per 3.5 ounce serving. You can use this pan fried, sauteed when you're grilling. It's really high in the mineral selenium with small amounts of things like iron, calcium, and phosphorus. So if you're not sensitive to gluten, I would definitely recommend trying this because it's super high in protein, and if you're needing like a nice little protein punch, this can be a great way to do it while still, using it as a protein option in your meals. Lentils. So lentils have about 18 grams of protein per cooked cup and about 50% of your recommended daily fiber. So these kind of have the similar texture of beans when they're cooked to me. They can be used in a wide variety of recipes. You'll see them in a lot of soups and stews and a lot of ethnic cuisines. I think it's a pretty popular ingredient in things like Indian dishes and things like that. So if you've never tried lentils, those are also a great source of protein for you. Nutritional yeast is a great one that people don't really know much about. So instead of elaborating on that today, I'm going to do a whole video on it another time just to kind of introduce nutritional yeast and what you can do with it. So stay tuned on that. But my last suggestion for boosting your protein intake is just to find a good protein powder or shake that you like. There are a few out there that are vegan and that are made from plant-based protein. So Orgain is a great one. Vega, Own, OWYN, they make some great vegan protein powder. So if you're kind of, not wanting to have a actual meal and you kind of want to stick with that protein shake but don't really know which brands are best, try out a few and of those brands and then see which ones you like. Kind of, experiment around and see if you find any that you like, and that can always be a great on-the-go snack for you. But I hope that gives you some good vegan protein options. Now, these were all vegan. Of course, if you're vegetarian, you can include these as well. But if you're vegetarian, you can also still have things like yogurt, the regular protein shakes, things like that. So just be aware of that. I hope that you enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave any questions, comments, anything that you have that you want to ask, any topics you want covered, please let us know. Don't forget to check out the workouts with Corey and some of our other trainers and the cooking demos with Nick. We hope to see you very soon, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.